My name is Peter Avram. I am a sensor placement architect at Waymo. We are formerly the Google self-driving car project.
What do mechanical engineers do?
So mechanical engineers can do everything from the air conditioning in your house or a big building to computer chips to spacecraft to regular cars to self-driving cars. Anything that's physical, I like to joke, where the physics meets the road, right? Where there's physical, mechanical things in the environment that you want to design, adapt, change. Mechanical engineers are usually there.
When did you figure out you wanted to become a mechanical engineer?
As a kid, as far as I can remember, probably going back to when I was about 5, I always liked taking things apart, building things, figuring out how they worked. Anything. Didn't matter what it was. By the time I hit middle school, I knew I wanted to do some kind of engineering or be an architect or something like that. I just didn't know how to get there. And it wasn't until I actually started going to college that I settled on being a mechanical engineer. I knew I wanted to do something physical. So either electrical engineering or aerospace engineering, where I primarily dealt with, aircraft and stuff like that. But I ultimately settled on mechanical engineering just because it's so broad and there's so many things you can do with it.
And did you have a favorite subject when you were a kid?
For me, it was always science was the interesting one because it helped explain the world around me. And I grew to like math because I knew math enabled my further depth in science. I need to emphasize that I didn't personally really like math. I just was like, okay, here's rules, and I learned this, and it helps unlock all these other things that I wanna learn more about.
What did you do after high school? Did you go right to college?
I didn't come from any kind of fancy background. My parents were very pragmatic. They were Romanian immigrants and said, hey, we love you, dude. We don't have much for you, so you got to find your own path. They're very supportive as much as they could. So I decided to join the U.S. Army. Here's a picture of me in my time overseas. Oddly enough, I picked the most technical job I could find that would provide me the most money for college. So I was a missile systems repairer, but it doesn't mean that I don't have to go do stuff that regular soldiers do.
What did you do right after you got out?
And I knew that when I got out, I wanted to go to college because I knew that would unlock a whole bunch of opportunities and get me to where I was hoping to be. So I, again, trying to maximize the money I got from the Army and stuff, I worked like 2 or 3 jobs, and I went to a local community college for 2 years and really enjoyed that. And then I was really lucky that I live close to the University of Michigan, here in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and I went to straight into their mechanical engineering program from there, and then did that for 2.5 years. And so I think I tried to maximize, in a very engineering way, like A, B, and C to get to okay, I'm a degreed engineer, now what?
Can you tell us a bit about Waymo?
At Waymo, we are working on making the world's safest driver. We are working where there's no human involvement, right? You pull up your phone and you say, hey, I want to go from here to here, and the car will come by, the door opens up, you get in, and it'll take you to your destination. You don't have to do anything, and then it'll drop you off. Here's a little mini model of the first fully autonomous car that we made from scratch. And I was the lead technical responsible engineer for the little sensor pod on the roof, and which has grown and improved over the years.
What's your most powerful memory in building autonomous driving technology?
The first time I went into an actual earlier car we had, and it was just this perfectly done drive. And when it dawns on you, you get in there, you're so excited. You're like, oh man, I'm getting in a driverless car. This is so awesome. And then you're just kind of you're like, this is boring. You're like, oh wait, that's what it's supposed to be. it's a safe driver taking you around. And when it dawned on me, I was like, this is so exciting, but it's boring at the same time. You're like, but wait, that's what it's supposed to be. Like, oh yeah. And then it clicked instantly. I was like, oh yeah, this is great that it's boring. You don't want it to be exciting, right? And then the other second memory was earlier on in the project, we used to be able to take prototype cars home for the weekend. And there were limited functionality. We could do that, the autonomous driving on the highway, and we were living in the San Francisco Bay Area. So my daughter, who was probably a toddler or 2 at the time, we decided to take a car to go to the San Francisco Zoo. And I remember I was on the highway, and she was in her car seat behind me, and I had my hands just off the wheel, and the car was driving itself on the highway. And my daughter kept looking over, and she was like, Dad, put your hands on the wheel. Like, no, you need your 2 hands on the wheel. And that's just become this like family joke for years now, because she's, didn't get it at the time, but that memory really sticks out.
Okay, what if the police tells the car to pull over because it's speeding? Like the Waymo car can hear the police and it can know to pull over, right? There's an ambulance so it can get out of the way.
Brilliant question, and we account for it. We have microphones that listen for sirens, and our cameras are specially trained and work really, really well to look for police lights, right? So they try to triangulate, meaning they try to use a bunch of microphones to figure out where the noise is coming from, and then they use cameras to look for the blinky lights, for the police lights, and to get out of the way or pull over.
How did you get to satellites and, to work with that stuff?
I was interested in everything and anything. I applied to any role that seemed interesting enough. I ended up out in Sunnyvale, California, in just south of San Francisco, working for Lockheed Martin. And I entered the company as a manufacturing engineer. So instead of designing satellite components and stuff like that, I was on the manufacturing side. So we actually built parts that were going to get launched into space. And after that, I transitioned into a designer role, which was really awesome, because I went from learning how to build the things to learning how to design them. So one of the biggest things I worked on was, at the time it was called GOI 2, which then became Worldview 4, and it was in the same kind of family of satellites that takes pictures of the Earth that are eventually used in things like Google Maps, right? So when you're like clicking around and you're looking at Google Maps, a lot of those pictures come from satellites like this. And what's circled in the screen share right there, me and another engineer worked on the mechanism that moved the antenna so you can send all that imaging data back to Earth. So as they're orbiting, they're actually moving the entire spacecraft to scan. So they don't just take a picture and then, send it down. They're scanning like a sweep. And then all that data needs to get sent down to places along the equator. And so as that satellite is moving in space, you have to keep the antenna pointed down, and you have to have a moving mechanical assembly in between. So if you pretend that this is your telescope taking pictures, and your antenna has to move relative to that. And it's a super precise, very tightly designed mechanism to do that work. And so that's what I did when I was at Lockheed Martin.
What if something goes wrong in space? What happens?
So that's the really interesting part about working on spacecraft, is that if I'm, designing an attachment for my vacuum hose, I can forgive a little bit on the design and analysis side, knowing that, okay, that first design didn't work, we'll have to redo it. But when it comes to spacecraft, you put so much energy and effort and money in the beginning to make sure you do a really, really good job. You make sure all your math, all your physics, everything is really good. And then you test all of that equipment to the point where you're pretty much sending a used spacecraft in space. So there's so much work that goes up front to make sure it doesn't break afterwards.
Can you leave all the kids on here with your inspiration, your thoughts, how should they approach their career and their passion?
So don't let anyone ever tell you you can't do something. Like, don't think because you have a certain background or you come from a certain family or anything like that that you can't go outside of it. Yeah, just keep pushing. If you're interested in something, just keep learning about it. Always ask why. Always push it. Learn what you don't know. Just keep going. Keep pushing, and don't let it stop when you get to what you feel your job is. Like the best engineers I know today, they're always constantly asking and pushing and learning and just go, right? Because it's a passion. It's a really cool world to be in.
Bye.